Hello and welcome to a Bit of Film podcast. I'm Hatty.
And I am James.
This podcast is for film lovers, spoiler chasers, and general banter. We are two Brits in lockdown with too much time on our hands talking about films.
We both hold degrees and jobs in the creative arts. Yes, our parents are so proud that it ultimately led to this podcast. So we might go into some behind the scenes or production elements you might not know or be familiar with.
We release episodes every 2 weeks, talking about the latest film and TV offerings. If you love excessive defending of plot holes and mispronouncing actors' names, this is for you.
Please be advised we discuss spoilers, so please turn off if you haven't seen or keep listening if you don't care. Apologies, we had some technical issues as we are amateurs, so you will see an increase in quality as we continue. Yes, we are British and apologise far too much.
This week we are talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier Episode 3, Power Broker. Zemo escapes from prison with the help of Bucky. Together with Sam, they head to Madripoor to the source of the super soldier serum. There they meet Sharon Carter, who helps them to find the laboratory. Captain America, aka John Walker, follows a lead on Carly Morgenthau, but faces tough resistance.
News this week!
Yeah, no, there's been a fair few trailers, really. I mean, I haven't watched them all yet. We'd need an entire episode to kind of go through all the new trailers, because there was a new trailer for the Ghostbusters with Paul Rudd.
What?
Which is that. Ghostbusters Afterlife. It just came up, I think, today.
Okay.
We also had a new Black Widow trailer.
Yes.
Which I think was mainly to announce the fact that it's going to be on Disney Plus and it's going to be released in June.
Yes, they've changed it again, haven't they?
Because they've changed it to June now.
Or is it now July?
According to IMDb, it's expected July 9th.
Yeah, so it's now July 9th, and it was June 9th.
Right, okay. Right, so it just keeps changing.
Yep.
Can't keep up. It was another good solid trailer. It didn't really reveal too much more, I don't think. I think the only thing it sort of revealed that we didn't already know was that Ray Winston appears to be playing as the primary villain that's controlling Taskmaster.
Okay, yeah, that's new.
I didn't realise he was even in, so that was an interesting surprise for me. Otherwise, yeah, it's a lot of the same old stuff. Clearly, they've got to the point where they've had to try and drum up hype after so long, but they don't want to reveal too much more, because otherwise they're going to spoil whatever surprises they've got in store for the film.
Whatever's left, yep.
Yeah. Still looking forward to that, though. At the end of the day, I'm hoping that I can actually go and see that in cinemas.
Yeah.
I'll tell myself now that I won't pay for premiere access for Black Widow, but I will. That's one of the ones that I will. I regret Mulan, but somehow I don't think I'll regret Black Widow.
I'll play that back to you when after you've watched it.
No, you've got to stay optimistic. This is the second female-led superhero film that Marvel have done. We need it to be good.
No, that's true. That's true.
But The Crown season 5 is to start filming in July.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not looking forward to.
Quickly scroll past that.
I'm not looking forward to. What's her name? DeBecky playing Princess Diana. I'm not sure how that's going to go, because the other girl looked like Diana.
Oh yes, they've done. Sorry, I forgot that they've done a time jump again, haven't they?
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
We'll see.
Okay. We'll see.
Did you see that Witcher have released their season 2 spoiler, which is of the behind the scenes stuff? Did you have a watch of that?
I saw that they've done their rap video. Yeah, there was like a little behind the scenes video of it, which yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm excited about. It's The Witcher. I'm a big fan of the video game series, so the fact that we're now getting season 2, hopefully this year, is very exciting.
So excited.
I do know also that the latest Spider-Man film has now wrapped filming as well.
Ooh, exciting. That's good.
So that is coming around the corner.
Well,
and
they'll probably end of the year, on my guess on that one.
End of the year is when it's due to be released. Well, hopefully that should happen now. But with wrapping now finished, obviously they're going to be working on post-production now, so I'm kind of hoping that we're going to get a teaser trailer sometime soon. And they did there was a photograph basically of, it's a blackboard with the logo on, and it had all the cast and crew sign it. And obviously everyone was picking it apart. Pretty sure people have found Tobey Maguire's signature. Also Charlie Cox, who obviously played Daredevil in the Netflix series, which is very, very interesting and exciting. And I think they did spot Andrew Garfield as well. So
that sounds cool.
Part of me is kind of like cynically thinking that this is Marvel playing us for fools. They had him on set for a day as a cameo, not as Spider-Man, and then they've been feeding all these things. At the end of the day, we've been fooled before, and that's Iron Man 3 and the Mandarin. So let's just take it with a pinch of salt until we see some trailers.
Just back to The Witcher for a second. I didn't actually realise that The Witcher is a female showrunner. Did you know that?
No, actually.
No. And actually, now I kind of think about it, I actually think it's one of the best ones for female characters. And yeah, even Geralt's actually quite a complex male character because, like, compared with, I don't know, Game of Thrones or something. I don't know. I was quite impressed with that. I thought that was quite cool. I also love that The Witcher also released the first script page. Did you have a look at that?
No. Oh wait, no, yes I did. Sorry, this was a while ago. No, so that's why I thought you meant recently. No, I saw it a while ago. Yeah, and I mean, it didn't reveal much.
No. It's still ballsy.
I can't remember.
It's ballsy. I'm quite impressed that they managed to do that.
Very clever marketing. No, I am looking forward to the second series of The Witcher. I thought the first series was pretty solid, particularly for a Netflix show. Not to do Netflix a discredit, they obviously pump out some really good content, but I thought with The Witcher, to try and compete on the same level as Game of Thrones, which is effectively what this will do, was very ballsy. But yeah, season 1 wasn't perfect, but I think it was very much setting up the world, and I think it's done that, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a bit more streamlined storytelling in season 2. Yeah, but no, very much looking forward to it.
Cool.
You've hit it on the head. The fact that you've got Ciri and you've got Yennefer as these brilliant female characters, and then you do have Geralt, who, yeah, if you want to say he's a complex character,
he's a man of few words.
It's the easiest bit of acting that Henry Cavill has ever had to do.
No, that's true. That's
true.
But
I do think he makes a really good Geralt. I think he does work very well. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just hoping that we get it this year.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that we get it this year.
I think we will. I think we will. Him and what's the female witch called? What's she called? Not Ciri, the other one.
Yennefer.
Him and Yennefer's relationship is brilliant. I really do like that. That there's just moments of him being completely incompetent, which you don't expect from that kind of character. And I love those little moments. And it was just no, I really really like that. The other thing is the Space Jam trailer.
Oh God. Yeah.
I wasn't really a fan of the original, so yeah.
Oh, were you not? Interesting, because I thought the original. I used to love it as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am no doubt going to watch this at some point. I'm no doubt going to watch Space Jam 2. The fact that they're doing a second one shouldn't have happened anyway. It's clearly them. It's a sequel trope, isn't it? At the moment, it's a case of, well, let's take all these classics and then let's rebuild them for the new generation, which is absolutely fine.
Worked for Jumanji.
It worked for Jumanji. No, that is very true. No, I think it's very Ready Player One is the only way I can describe it. I know again people have done an analysis on it and they've seen cameos from Batman characters. They've got, I think Pennywise was in there at some point. Like I think it's any property that they've got. I don't really understand the plot. It's a bit more than just the whole Warner Brothers Looney Tunes characters now. It's almost like there's this whole, let's say, Wreck-It Ralph situation where you've got all the different pockets kind of coming together for this basketball game. I don't know. We're talking about Looney Tunes characters playing, and presume another basketball player. I don't know who the basketball player is, mind. Maybe the Americans can tell me.
We're English. It's okay.
Yeah, quite. I don't know. I got very Ready Player One vibes, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I think it'll be very entertaining. It's going to be a bit of fun. I think it's going to be one of those ones that you watch and don't take seriously, which I will say, it sounds like an obvious thing, but don't think too much about it. Just sit down and watch the pretty colours.
Fair enough. Okay. No, that sounds good. Finally, we get to talk about Zemo.
I knew you'd bring him up as the first point, and quite rightly so, given that the episode pretty much focuses on him and he steals the entire show. Yeah, it's a bit funny actually, considering that in the previous episode chats you've said that Sam, for instance, Sam doesn't have a character really at this point, and when you put them both next to Zemo, neither of them do, which is not great, really.
No,
I mean that is me being really harsh, but I mean, no, Zemo and Sharon, who also appears in this episode, were basically the standout characters. And it's like, I want more of both these people in this series. Why is it not called Baron Zemo and Sharon Carter?
Featuring Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No,
I did see something like that, which was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Zemo as the new title, or as the new working title, which I thought was very good.
It should be.
Considering that, obviously we knew that Zemo was coming into this at some point, and we got teased at the very end of the last episode. I think this episode completely delivered on his character. Yeah, I mean, I thought that the whole prison break, I'm going to say in quotation marks, that happened very quickly.
Easy. It was so easy for them. It was like Zemo was waiting for somebody to come along to justify why he needed to escape.
Well, I don't think Zemo escaped on his own accord. I think the whole idea was that Bucky had left something with him. which helped him get out. But still, it entirely calls into question the security of that team, and also where the hell is he being held? I mean, he was in a little glass box the last time we saw him. I mean, he still was in a little glass box, but I suppose in a much more breakable security prison. I don't know.
I know, poor Berlin. Poor Berlin's. It's a commentary on Berlin's prison system, which is just, I don't think that's accurate.
I can't possibly comment on that. No, I did think that was a bit rushed. I get why they did it. Well, like when I came away from the episode and had like a think about it, basically, sort of writing notes really in terms of what we were going to discuss today. I mean, they make it very clear in that exchange between Sam and Bucky that Sam is not on board with breaking Zemo out, and quite rightly so. So if they were going to try and drag that out to be either half the episode or even the full episode, it wouldn't have worked because Sam would never have gone along with it. Or Sam would have needed a lot of convincing to get along with it. So I think the fact that they both sort of just like dusted over it in the first 5 minutes was probably a good shout. Mainly that it could start also moving on the plot, I suppose.
I've got an interesting, we're talking about plot. I actually listened to an interview from the producer of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I think was on Ali Plum's podcast. And she actually said that the structure of the TV series was based off a film one. So they weren't trying to use a TV format at all. They were trying that it is a 6-hour film.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It definitely feels like that. Like we've talked about previously how WandaVision was very much more episodic, as well as telling an overarching thing. But I think we're going to see more and more of this with Disney. The future Marvel TV series how they're going to play out. Are they going to play out more like a TV series, or are they all going to have this mentality of we're going to replicate replicate a film but in a longer format? But I was thinking about this. I was thinking back to The Mandalorian, because that's obviously that's the nearest big budget series that Disney have done for a massive franchise, and even that was very episodic. But then arguably there was less of an overarching plot. Still
it was Monster of the Week, really, wasn't it, The Mandalorian?
Yeah, well, I described The Mandalorian as a series of side quests distracting you from the main game, which I think is fair enough. But it worked. It worked in that own right. But like, I think if they tried to apply that to, I mean, even this to a point is kind of like, we'll go into this place, we'll talk to these people, but it's all part of a longer goal. At least they're there because they're after the super soldiers, they're after Carly. There is always that end game in sight. It's not like, oh, okay, we need to go over here and this happened, so let's deal with this. It does feel very much more movie-like, which I don't mind. I think is good. I see a lot of mixed criticism about this series so far, and I do get it, because I think this one is very much going to be one of those ones of when you've got the full thing, you could just binge it in 6 hours, have the full story, and then have that complete arc as if you were watching a film. I'm just too impatient to wait. So, yeah, it's a funny one.
I actually agree with that. If I just watched the first episode, I would have just waited. Like, if we weren't doing this, I would have completely waited, because it's because it's a film pace. They're not getting the kind of like complete arc of a TV series episode. And so there's moments and I'm like, that should have been a much bigger moment. Like even the reveal at the end of episode 1 should have been it should have felt like everything was leading up to that moment in that episode. And I don't feel like they've been giving you those little payoffs enough at the moment. Because TV series are about connecting with a character, I don't really feel like I've connected with the characters. I feel more like I'm on a film story where, right, we've got 2 hours, you've got to get this plot out, go. And I think it's going to hurt them if they keep doing this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how to respond to that. No, I know what you mean. I don't know, I'm just trying to compare it to WandaVision.
I mean, every WandaVision episode had a very clear TV ending. Each episode ended on a big hook, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I suppose each episode did have that sort of cliffhanger. Yeah, okay, no, I do agree with that. I suppose at the end of the day, with episode 1, yes, you had the reveal of the new Captain America, which, yes, we both agreed, and we've talked about this before, where that should have been a bigger moment. That should have been a big moment which was basically shared with Sam and Bucky, but in 2 separate locations. Episode 2, I suppose, that was the reveal that Zemo was back, which I suppose would have been more impactful had they not revealed it in the trailers. We knew that Zemo was coming back anyway, so the fact that it was a case of, okay, we're going to show you this very brief clip of him and then cut, was more irritating than anything else. It was more like, I mean, again, when we discussed this with episode 2, I was livid because I was like, I've got to wait a whole damn week now until I actually see him in action.
But wouldn't it have been better, though, if it had started with them entering the room and Zemo being like, I wondered when you two would arrive?
No, because that would have been really cheesy.
Okay. But
using that dialogue
like,
anyway. I've been expecting you.
Yeah, okay. I'll be honest, it wasn't far off that.
No, it probably wasn't. It probably wasn't. I can't remember exactly what he said, because I remember now. Because when Bucky entered the room, he started reciting the code that turns him into the Winter Soldier, and then Bucky turns around and says that don't work on me anymore.
That's true. Okay, yeah, that wasn't as
Which he and then he said, "Oh, I know. I just wanted to see how you reacted." Yeah, this is what I like about Zemo, and but we're going to pronounce his name wrong, but I'll just be on first name terms, Daniel. I still think he plays that character brilliantly. I mean, obviously with the setup in terms of what his cell's like, there's a very Hannibal Lecter vibe to him.
Completely.
But I suppose more in a charming way as opposed to a sort of sinister way.
Yes, no, absolutely.
I'm going to bring up the moment now, but the fact that when they were in the sort of seedy pirate city and they're in the club and there's that very brief moment of Zemo dancing, I think has just taken the internet by storm.
It was on
and we've got
dancing. It was adorable.
I mean, I'm going to be doing that when the clubs reopen. That's my invitation to do that. Solid dancing. Also, apparently, side little note as well. I read that in an interview with Daniel. I need to learn his last name. Is it Brule?
Brule.
Daniel Brule. We're going to get this wrong. Yeah, apparently there was a much longer sequence of him dancing, which they cut just to that.
No, I hope they released that.
Well, exactly. This is now become the hashtag release the Zemo dance. Because everything has to have a hashtag these days. Like I said earlier on, Zemo's got more character and more charm than the other two at the moment, which is going to be a problem. I will say, however, it was... How do I describe this? Because I don't know if I like what they're doing with him. I think he's being played brilliantly, because at the end of the day, even in Civil War, he had that charm, he had that sophistication, he knew exactly how to manipulate people, and that is still being shown here. But it is almost like he's becoming that they're going down the route of making him a very likable character, and part of that didn't gel for me. That part of me is thinking this doesn't feel like the same character that we saw in Civil War. But then again, it might be because in Civil War, at the end of the day, yes, he was the villain, but he was still kind of overshadowed by the whole conflict between Captain America and Iron Man. So it could be that they're just kind of building up on that, I suppose. And he's suddenly rich, which I know is part of the comics. It's part of his backstory, so to speak. But it was just kind of like, well, we need to get to this place now, so let's make Zemo rich. Let's make him a Bruce Wayne character. Let's put him on a plane, and then he'll take them to their destination. And he's obviously got all these like criminal contacts in the pirate city, which I'm going to keep calling it. And at the end of the day, he came from Sokovia, which, as far as we're aware, was a pretty run-down place.
Yeah. He is Batman. I'm sorry. He has an English butler and an airplane, and he's a baron. I'm sorry. He's Batman. He's European Batman.
And he fights crime in a mask.
I know.
At the end of the day, I'm going to my go-to, which is we're on episode 3 of 6. No idea what's going to happen.
We're halfway, James. Come on.
You know what? That came to me when there was I was talking to one of my friends about the episode after I'd finished it, and then it just suddenly dawned on me that we're halfway through. We've got 3 more weeks of this, and then that's it. That's done. And
then we've got Loki, but yeah, this is the end of them.
Yeah, Loki's not till June though. So.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right. So it's not immediate.
Well, the original plan for Marvel was to release Marvel content. There was never going to be a week where there was no Marvel content. But I think because Black Widow was supposed to be in May, but that's now being pushed back. So there is now going to be a gap, and that's disgraceful. I don't know what I'm going to do with those weeks. What am I going to do? Well, hopefully we'll be allowed outside by that point. So
the sun. Oh. But yes.
But
he's definitely definitely Bruce Wayne, also known as Zemo, Baron Zemo.
Also known as Zemo. Yeah. Well, I'm still banking on the fact that at some point he is gonna, because I mean, the logic of them working together, which we did kind of foresee. I get it, because Bucky mentions in the episode that he has a code, and at the end of the day, he wanted to take out the super soldiers. He took out the super soldiers in Civil War, so of course he's going to want to do it again in this one. So it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation. But at the end of the day, Bucky is still a super soldier, so if Zemo's going to finish his work, at some point he's going to have to turn on him.
Or try and get him back in some capacity.
Get him back under control.
Control, yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. Although, to be fair, I also did like that moment when they're in the bar, and Bucky's got to pretend that he's the Winter Soldier still, and Zemo just tells him to, well, basically teach this guy a lesson, and Bucky's straight into it. And the worry in Sam's face is like, okay, my boy's got problems. It's the whole thing with the therapy scene where he's like, he pretends that what he wants is peace. He doesn't. He wants another purpose, and he wants to fight effectively. But I suppose that is part of the problem with the series so far, which is those themes aren't really hammered home. They're quite lightly touched upon, so to speak, but not really given the payoff.
No, absolutely.
So I do agree with you in that sense. I mean, it could be that there's a payoff sort of further down the line, but there's not that sort of emotional weight, that emotional impact, which I suppose we got with WandaVision. But then WandaVision we're looking at it through different goggles, because we're watching Wanda interact with Vision, who we know is dead.
No. Just purely on a character way. The character development was like her whole challenge was how long can she keep this going, and that was really fun to kind of see, because we saw them living their day-to-day lives. We got to know them. And I still don't feel any closer to Sam or Bucky really.
I'd say that we got to know Wanda more.
Yeah, but
Vision was a fake. Vision wasn't a fake Vision. He was I don't know. We're getting off topic now. We're going back to WandaVision. I don't know. It's more mainstream. I've said it before. It is that movie approach. It's more mainstream Marvel with slightly undeveloped characters.
I was gonna say, do you want to move on to Sharon or the Power Broker?
Would you? Would you like to start?
I don't even know where to start with.
I mean, she's got issues.
It was inevitable that she was going to turn up.
Again, revealed in the trailer.
It was just, yeah, well, that's true. But it was too easy. I don't know. I'm going to come and help you because I can. And then, oh, look, at the end of it, it turns out I might not be working for who you think I'm working for. Oh, who could have seen that coming?
You really do not like this series, do you?
I'm just disappointed. That's what it is. I don't hate it. I'm disappointed. I was like, my big thing with this one is the fact that Dr. Nagal just seemed like the sheep Doug in Zootropolis with his like little van of like vaccines. And it just felt like such a placed plot element that hadn't really, I don't know, it just was too easy. It all felt too easy. And I'll be honest, the character of this one that I thought was sort of well done was the Power Broker, because it at least felt believable that
the Power Broker, who we still don't know who really
exactly.
is.
We don't, but at least they're trying to make some kind of like, you know, suspicious element of it.
Well, I mean, clearly we think that Sharon's the Power Broker. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah.
I do kind of think that would be too easy, though. But I mean, I'd prefer. So I've again debated this. The two obvious candidates are it's Zemo or it's Sharon. My money is on Sharon, simply because clearly the Power Broker is someone who no one actually knows. Like, the people who work for the broker don't know who the broker is, which I do quite like. I like that sort of whole cloak and dagger mystery figure situation. But the thing is, I don't get why Sharon would fund the creation of a super serum. I feel that's unless she really got pissed off with Steve for leaving her, well, high and dry. No, that's the part that doesn't really explain it away for me. I kind of feel like, maybe I'm giving Marvel too much credit. I feel like we know from WandaVision they know their audience well, and they're clearly planting this seed there that Sharon is the Power Broker. But to be honest, I reckon we're never going to find out who the Power Broker is, and we're just going to find out that Sharon is actually still working with the CIA or something like that. I don't quite know.
That's what I felt. It felt more like CIA than it did Power Broker.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of made me not think that was the fact that she got into the back of the car, which felt much more. She was in a position of authority, as if she's got people working for her Like I don't know if it was CIA and
She was still on the phone talking to somebody, so that could.
Was she? No, I thought she was talking to the driver who opened the door for her and let her in.
Oh, was she? I thought she was talking to somebody. Okay.
No, I think she walked to the car, and there was another woman there with the car who opened the door for her to get her to let her in, and I think she was talking to that person that we've got a problem.
Right.
I don't know. It didn't seem very CIA. It felt very much more that she has people working for her. Plus, can we just take a moment to appreciate that she's got a frigging swanky apartment for living in a pirate colony?
I know, it's really nice, wasn't it? I was like, oh yeah, if crime pays like that, yeah, I'll have that.
Exactly. She's been doing well for herself. Now, I know, like at the end of the day, I think, what's she called? It's Emily Van Camp or something like that.
The actress.
The actress, yeah.
I'll take her word for it.
Yeah, not the character. Because I haven't seen it in a lot, to be fair. I know she was in a TV series called Revenge.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Emily Van Camp, yeah, that's who plays Sharon. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, she was kick-ass in this episode. I mean, she's been pretty kick-ass throughout the MCU, but like this was Sharon Carter with the gloves off. Like she was straight up beating the crap out of everyone. She did more beating up than the Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Yeah.
This is what I don't get about this episode. It's like basically Zemo and Sharon. This is their episode. This is their TV show. Bucky's got more involvement, and Sam's just getting dragged about. Like Sam.
I'm just nodding, letting you say this, because eventually, James, you'll believe me.
Well, in this episode in particular, mainly because Sam has barely anything to do.
He
really
can't
don't
run
know
in
what Sam
heels.
does in this episode.
That was his big problem for this episode.
Yeah, I know, but you gotta love that line. That was beautiful. I mean,
all right,
shoehorned in. No pun intended.
That was brutal, James. That's brutal.
That was quite bad, wasn't it? Jesus, that wasn't even planned either. I have a habit of just putting puns in where
I'm okay with it.
This is going to be my running theme throughout this podcast. Yeah, Sam's basically not been given much to do at all in this episode. He gets dressed up by Zemo in high heels. He's, what's he called, Crouching Tiger or something like that? I don't know. And more to the point, he leaves his fucking mobile on when they're infiltrating a pirate colony.
That was ridiculous. That was like, on what planet would he have done that? Like, no one does that. Just.
But also more to the point. This is where I think it does get lazy, and obviously this ties up to the end of the episode when they're discussing at the beginning about breaking Zemo out. Like Sam tells Bucky, like the Wakandans will not forget. They don't forget this. He killed their king. And we know that Wakanda's a highly technologically advanced society. Bucky knows this. Sam knows this. Sam left his phone on. Pretty sure the Wakandans can track them. The US government can track them, let alone the Wakandans.
I know. And
then obviously the Wakandans, our Wakandan shows up at the end, who I think is called Io. Oh God, here we go. which I did really, I really liked it. I know it was the teaser for the next part of the episode, but
if you have Wakandas in it, I think everyone's happy. Like they're just so badass.
They are very badass. It was that she appeared, and then the Wakandan theme happened, and it was like, oh yes, this is great. I did think, however, that they couldn't afford Okoye.
No.
Hence why they brought in like Kingsguard number 2 or something like that. No, I mean, come on. I mean,
no,
you say that, but I mean, it took me a moment to recognize who. Like, she has been in the other films. Like, she was in Civil War and she was in Infinity War. I know she's there, but I thought, oh right, so they couldn't afford Okoye, which is a bit of a shame. I did see something which did break my heart a little bit. Actually, was. I mean, obviously, these are just rumors. It might not be true at all. If Chadwick Boseman hadn't passed away, that he would have appeared at the end of that episode.
Yeah, it felt like he. I think it felt like he was going to.
Yeah.
Aww.
And I read that, and now, yeah.
I miss him.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's such a shame. But that if they kept that under wraps as well, that would have been such a fantastic thing. I mean, some people believe that because I don't know if this series was filmed before he passed away.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't know how it fit into the timeline, so to speak. But some people are still kind of holding out hope that he will appear in some cameo capacity further down the line. Because we've been down this road before. I think the producers or the writers or someone involved in the show has teased that there is a cameo at the end of episode 5. So that's a couple of weeks from now, which will make people cry, is how they've quoted. Now, I'm going to take that with a little pinch of salt, because we're also talking about a studio where Paul Bettany said that he was going to work with an actor he's long wanted to work with in the final episode, and that turned out to be himself.
You're not letting this go, James. I think you're still annoyed about this, aren't you?
No, I'm not, to be fair. I mean, I thought that was a stroke of genius, and the fact that Paul Bettany had dug himself a hole and couldn't get out of it again. Even the director had to come out and say, I think Mr. Bettany's dug himself a little hole here and he can't quite get out. But obviously he couldn't reveal what it was. But we'll see. I don't know. I think when people start to overpromise like that, if they're involved in the production, you're just setting yourself up for failure. It's kind of like when people come up with all these theories and they're disappointed when their theories don't come to light. It's like, well, maybe you should have just taken everything with a pinch of salt.
There's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, actually, before we go off it. The Sharon scene where you first meet her is really interesting if you go and rewatch it, because the edit goes really rough, like really rough. So I remember watching it thinking that it was quite quick, her kind of change of mind to come and work with them. And if you look closer at the edit, actually, there's obviously, that was supposed to be a big conversation that they've edited round and shortened it, which ends in her saying, okay, I'll come with me, I'll show you my apartment, basically, which isn't quite as much as a come online as that I made that sound to be, but you know what I mean.
Let me show you my big swanky apartment.
Yeah, who needs the US government when you can have that?
Exactly, I don't know what she's complaining about. She seems to have landed on her feet.
I'm curious as to what was missing in that moment that they've edited round, and it seemed like a slightly different conversation, and also she changed her mind very quickly. So I wonder what that was. I wonder if it was too obvious to imply that maybe she was the power broker, maybe? Not sure.
I don't know. I can't say I noticed that, to be fair. But I might have to rewatch the episode.
Yeah,
I'll use that as my excuse to rewatch it before episode 4.
Yeah, it's her hand positions suddenly get really jumpy, and there's a lot of quick cuts, and it's like, what was that supposed? What were you supposed to say, Sharon, that you didn't? So.
Yeah, one note I will put in there is I'm glad they didn't make Sharon a love interest.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Because there were, some people have been picking apart, I think, clips or moments in the trailer where
her and Bucky?
It implied, her and Bucky.
Yeah.
It implied that her and Bucky might start to have a thing, and I was just thinking, no, don't do this to her. She's better than that.
There was a moment.
Better than that.
There was a moment at one point when they were walking around her apartment, and I was like, are they going to push that? And then they suddenly veered away from it. And I was like, oh, okay. But no, I could see that. I can see that.
You can see that as in you want that, or
I don't think I want it, but I can see why people would think that.
I think she just follows the Captain Americas. I think that's how this works.
True. Zemo, Red Skull. What do we think about that? I mean, it's kick-ass because it's Zemo. I don't know. Do
you want to expand on that?
I was expecting you to have a big theory about it. I'll be honest. The fact that he's somehow still got his mask, and that it's almost like he's ready for this moment.
Oh, sorry, no, you were talking about the Red Skull. I was wondering what... I mean, yeah, he wears a purple mask. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Sorry, purple. Yes.
Yeah, it was a bit convenient that all his stuff was conveniently there in a car, as if he'd planned to be... I don't know. I don't quite know how that worked. I presume that was those were his belongings, or maybe he just nicked them, but then why would someone have a pink mask? Purple mask, sorry.
Maybe he left it in the plane, before he was arrested.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They didn't really make. I mean, that's part of Zemo's costume in the comics, so I know why they've done it. And I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, that's Halloween sorted. I know people were theorizing that Zemo intentionally had that design to mimic Thanos. Obviously, Thanos having wiped out half the universe, it was almost like as a fear thing, which I could kind of see.
Yeah, I guess.
But then at the end of the day, they made no allusion to it, no reference to it. So I think it was just purely fans fantasizing and theorizing, rather than it just being a case of this is Zemo's comic book costume, therefore we are going to put Zemo's comic book costume into the film.
Yeah. Okay.
I did enjoy the fact that we actually see Zemo in action, fighting, because we never saw that in Civil War. And what I did forget, which I was reminded of quite recently, was that part of Zemo's backstory is that he was part of the Sokovia military or something like that. So he can handle himself, and this was the point that we actually found that out. the end of the day, in Civil War, we know that he's going toe-to-toe with Avengers, and he can't really fight them as a human man. Whereas on this one, he's able to, sort of take on other people. Yeah, the fact that we saw him in action, sort of in that sort of action scenario, was really cool and really well done. And at the end of the day, he did more than Bucky and Sam. Again, I'm not letting them off on this one. I did think they were sort of, no. Oh, I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode again, but I just can't think of what Sam did in this film other than fuck up the mission.
We have to talk about Sam's sister.
Oh, on the phone? She owned it on the phone?
She still has more character than him. Sarah. I knew it was an S. She's still more fun than him. She's still
Did
more
she
fun.
even appear on screen, or was she just on the phone?
I think she was on screen.
Oh, was she on screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, it would have been something if she hadn't actually had any screen time, except for her voice on the phone, and she still managed to outshine Anthony Mackie.
I'm sorry for Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie, we still love you. We just want you to do something. Oh.
He had the kick-ass action scene at the very beginning.
I guess. But somehow it's still just...
Yeah.
It's the canyon all over again. This is the canyon of Sam's lacking motivations that he flies over without affecting. All I mean is that he does a lot of action, and yet somehow it's like character ? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really going to town on this one. Yeah, I've already said my thoughts on Sam, at least for this episode. I think he was poorly done in this one. I have said in previous episodes that I think what they should have been leading on was the fact that he doesn't feel he deserves the Shield. And based on the last 3 episodes, he's right. Oh, I don't really mean that, but he's
You're finally coming to the dark side, James. Finally to the dark side.
They've got to bring him back to the forefront. They do. I think that's the problem. And this is just this episode in terms of them not being because at the end of the day, in episode 2, they were both like they were the centerpieces, which is fine. But now they brought in 2 side characters who are starting to be more entertaining than they are, and that's never good. It's when you've got side characters who are more entertaining than your lead characters who are the title of the show, you know you've done something wrong in either the writing, the directing, or the producing, I suppose. So we'll see what happens. I suppose the advantage is, I mean, I was a bit disappointed that Sharon ended up not going with them. I thought she was going to tag along and become... No, she's got too much to actually do, James. That's the problem. Well, this is, I don't know, I mean, in retrospect, I kind of think that if she did tag along, again, it's another Zemo situation where there's another character there that's outshining them. At some point, Zemo is going to have to turn and become the big bad guy so that Sam and Bucky can actually do something. But this is it. I mean, like they've got in Zemo's plane. Zemo's taken them to where they need to go, which I know is part of the plan. Oh, I'm really coming down harsh on this episode. I'm enjoying it, James. Don't come to the dark side, James. but this is the point. I enjoyed the episode. I still enjoyed it. It was a very entertaining hour, and then that is my point. I sat there and I enjoyed it. It's just in retrospect, I'm thinking, this is called the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not Zemo. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 3 episodes. Did you not get Zootropolis with Doug and the sheep bit? Was that just me? No, I didn't get that, unfortunately. Okay. I did. Oh, yeah, actually, can we talk about is it Carly? Carly, yes, who is the head of the Flag Smashers. She straight up kills people. Yeah. So much for our thinking that they're actually good. Yeah, which was a big surprise. That was probably the biggest surprise of the episode, which was so they'd infiltrated this place, they'd taken the supplies, fair enough, but they tied all the people up so that they wouldn't get hurt, in quotation marks. And then, she gets into the car and then it blows up. I mean, she's clearly done it. She's clearly done it. It's not like that's happened by accident, which really surprised me. Because isn't she in the car? Yeah, I mean, she'd come out with her companion. They both got in the car, and then she told him to put his seatbelt on because she knew that the explosion was coming. Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. So the car didn't blow up. It was just the building that blew up. But presumably that was with the people inside. I mean, obviously we don't see that. But then I don't see any reason why they try and mask that, I suppose, because why would she lie to her companion? Her companion was as shocked as she was. So yeah, I mean, Carly's another one which is a bit interesting, and again, I suppose I'm interested to see how they take that further, because we have that moment where she's in this kind of makeshift hospital and she's comforting
Her
is
mum.
it her mum,
yeah.
So there's that whole thing. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of why her mum was in that situation, or well, we know what they're fighting for, but we don't exactly know what's motivating her for that. I mean, clearly what's motivating her has got to be some level of revenge, otherwise she wouldn't be killing people. And yeah, it kind of blew my theory out of the water when in the last 2 episodes we haven't actually seen them kill people, we've just seen them punch them, knock them down, and run away. So there's kind of that thing where they're getting supplies to get it into the hands of the right people, but then they're going about it in questionable ways.
Did you find
I'm interested to see where that goes.
My thing with it was, before the explosion, I was really confused as to why we were sitting. You know, she said, like, you know, we're here for the funeral, I want to do it right. But it felt also, in the same way that Sam left his phone on, it just felt like she was waiting for somebody to, like, take her, almost, because it was like she's standing in the middle of the road, like, she's not hiding anymore, almost.
Oh, true, they are being hunted, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't get it. I still don't get it.
Well, yeah, I've got nothing else to add on that.
Oh, okay, cool.
No. I'll be curious to see what happens with Carly moving forward. It's a bit blurred in terms of whether or not we are supposed to be seeing her as a villain or seeing her as a victim. And I suppose they could be one and the same. Because that is exactly what Zemo was, really, I suppose. I mean... That's the thing,
it's very Zemo-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Zemo-ish in terms of her origin, I suppose. At the end of the day, Zemo was fighting because he lost his family in Sokovia because of the Avengers.
No, that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. There was the scene with John Walker as well, where they were tracking down Carly. Yeah, he's going down a dark path.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we know this anyway, but it's only a matter of time before he kills someone.
I'm really actually enjoying his character. Like, I'm enjoying his character more and more, watching this fall from grace. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, I can't wait to see more of that, actually.
I do kind of wish that he was utilised more in this episode. Clearly, they're gearing up to the fact that John Walker is desperate to get a result, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get that result, which I think is where the dark path is going to become much more darker.
I think it's going to have something to do with Sharon. He's somehow called in a favour.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't theorise any of that. I just assumed it was something along the lines of they were going to piggyback on the work that Sam and Bucky were doing. Because we know, like, from episode 2, he's like, stay out of my way. And they tell him, well, we don't have to operate with the same guidelines as you do. We're more flexible, as they put it. And I think in this episode, he's clearly seeing that frustration. The fact that he's Captain America isn't enough because people don't respect that. And that's just going to grind at him continuously. I do enjoy his character. I do think they were focusing a bit more on it. And in terms of that descent, I think that descent happened a little too quickly, or in sharp bursts. Yeah. I'm glad that they refrained from... I thought he was going to kill that guy at some point, or, I don't know, punch him or something, which would have killed him. I'm glad they refrained from that, because I think that will have been too early for this episode. We've had the reveal in episode 1, we've had, I'm just a regular guy, I want to do right by the Shield, Patriot, and now we're starting to see him in action, and the fact that people don't respect him as Captain America, and that's pissing him off, because it's like, I'm just trying to do my frigging job. I'm still banking on the fact that he's going to somehow take a super serum formula, and he is going to become drunk on power. Because I think we find out, actually, because I think there are 8 other super... Because that doctor says there are 20 serums out there. 20 serums that were stolen, and as far as I'm aware, there are only 8 of the super soldiers that are part of Carly's Flag Smasher gang, which means there's a lot more super serum out there.
So Sharon's got the rest? Maybe?
Oh my god, what if Sharon takes it?
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be pretty cool. I don't want Sharon to become a villain. Actually, that's an interesting question now. So what is your take on Sharon becoming a villain?
I felt like there's an inevitability to it. That the whole point of this series is to go into the kind of backstory, and we're changing our opinions on certain key characters. Because Captain America sacrificed himself, because his legacy's no longer there, suddenly it's like, you know, mice play while the cats are away, so we can, you know, go down any kind of rabbit hole, as it were, with Sharon. So yeah, no, I think it would. I'm looking forward to seeing how that evolves, because I love a solid female villain. So yeah, no, I'm happy with it.
It's funny enough you said that in terms of having a strong female villain. As far as the MCU is concerned, anyway, we know that the Disney sagas are full of them. But I was trying to think of other MCU female villains, and the only one I could think of was Hela.
Yeah, exactly. It's depressingly few and
I was
far
hoping
between.
I was hoping you were going to come up with another one which I've completely forgotten about, but all I can think of is Hela.
Even Captain Marvel has a villain, has a male guy she's fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I still am like, why? Like,
which I think which just as an FYI, I think is being changed in Captain Marvel 2. Sorry, I think she is against a female character. This is going into Captain Marvel territory now. I do think that the fact that they wasn't like that, the fact that Jude Law was playing the male villain, so to speak, I think kind of played into the whole idea of women's emperament with that film.
Yeah, it was definitely a patriarchy symbol. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, because there's a whole thing at the end where she's just taken out the entire Kree fleet, which are now running. She goes back down to the surface, and Jude Law is there like, you'll only be good when you can defeat me without using your powers. She just uses her powers and throws him across, and it's like, I have nothing to prove to you. And that's the epiphany of the whole arc of that. If it was a character played by, I think it's Gemma Chan, who's the blue sniper.
Yes.
Can't remember her character's name. If she was the primary villain, for instance, then it wouldn't really have the same impact.
No, that's true. But even is it the Kree, did you say? The ones that she killed, the Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Why can they be female? Why did, I don't know, it just felt like to me it was like her and the pilot together and that was it. And I was like, oh, but like, come on. Like, what's interesting, okay, in comparison is that Black Widow is going to be about her and her sister. And then her family and fighting all of that stuff. And that, okay, it's still doing a two kind of female relationship. I don't, Marvel, I just want more women. I think because when they do it well, it's really good.
We'll see. But no, I suppose in that sense, that's kind of why I was kind of drawn back to the idea of, I don't know, I think if Sharon became a villain, it would be kind of a cheap move, in my opinion anyway. I mean, I do think there is a trajectory there, like you say, but...
All she wants is to come back, though, isn't it? That's what she basically said. All she wants is to just be like them again. So she's going to do everything she can to do that, which is why I think she's inevitably going to be joining forces with John, aka Captain America.
Yeah, see, I've got a problem with that just from the storytelling perspective, because surely Sharon would have been able to get back by now.
Oh, I know.
It's been implied that she vanished with the rest of the population during the snap, so she wasn't around when Cap was still around.
During the snap?
Yeah, I'm sure they refer to it as the snap at some point.
Do they? Oh.
Yeah. They call it so many things. The snap, the blip, the sting, as I call it.
Snap, crackle, pop. Is that what we're saying? It's snap, crackle.
Snap, crackle, and the snap, crackle, and pop. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, maybe Steve should have sorted that out before he pissed off Back to the Past.
Oh dear.
No, I just find it hard to believe that the fact that at the end of the day, the Winter Soldier has got a pardon, but somehow Sharon couldn't.
Yeah, so it's like it's almost like they're brewing, like they're making their own villains. If you do that, someone who worked with you, you're suddenly just gonna push them away.
Yeah, I don't know. But there is clearly a reason that they have made her that character or brought her back in this degree. Like, they could have so easily have had her undercover in this pirate colony trying to locate the identity of the power broker, but they didn't. They clearly chose her to be an outcast, sort of trapped in this place, which does make me feel that she is the power broker, and maybe she's going down the villain route. I tell you what, if she is the power broker, they better friggin' explain why she's trying to develop the super serum, because that doesn't sell for me.
We will see.
Also, more to the point, how long is it? Is it what, 6? I think it's supposed to be 6 months after the events of Endgame. How the hell did he develop the serum in 3 months?
Oh, didn't he say he's been working on it for ages? He's just been waiting for something. He's like, he just needed the money.
I think he said that he was working on it for, I don't know which organisation, but he was working on it for someone.
Wasn't it? US government.
Was it the US government? Well, he was working on it for the US government, but then he also got snapped away. And then when he came back...
I'm sorry, snap is just like... Duh!
Do you prefer dusted?
No, just the blip. Like, then the blip happened. No?
Then he was blipped.
Yeah, you're right. That's not better. Okay,
ignore me. Okay, well, when he came back after the blip, that the project had obviously dried up. So, yeah, I thought that's when the power broker funded him to restart or continue his research. I don't know. 3 months is still a very long time, considering that apparently, well, supposedly no one was able to replicate it throughout the original events of the MCU.
I know, I'm looking at COVID and they've managed to do amazing things in 3 months. So I'm kind of like, well, maybe. You never know. He only had to make 20.
Touche.
You're looking very confused. Although we do have to talk about one thing. The final fight with Sharon, they did actually run out of ammo. Marvel characters running out of ammo, which we were complaining about before. So, that's good.
Yeah, no, that is fair. That did happen. I suppose that was just a passing thing, though. They didn't make like a comment. It wasn't like when Sam and Bucky like came out of the container and clearly went in opposite directions, and then Sam's like, "It's in every action movie. You follow me this way," which I thought was very on the nose. Which again just didn't help me with Sam's character this episode. Oh, I've really gone to the dark side.
You have. You've been corrupted, James.
I'm really hoping that episode 4 picks this up. Otherwise, we're going to have 3 more episodes of me slowly coming down to your level. And that's not what this podcast is about. We need to be at opposite ends here, trying to pull each other into the other direction. And it isn't working.
No, I'm sorry, James. You're going to just have to come to the dark side.
No, I refuse. I'm going to continue watching these episodes and finding all the good points. Also, just on a final note, can we just appreciate the fact that we're in a point in the MCU where everyone hates the new Captain America but loves Zemo, who is supposed to be the villain?
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of sad because I'm like, unless Zemo becomes the good guy at the end and Captain America goes evil, that's gonna just be. Oh God, if that's true, that's gonna.
No. Zemo can't become a good guy. Zemo can't become a good guy.
Why do you say that? In the same way that you didn't think Sharon could become a villain either.
Well, Sharon hasn't become a villain yet.
Yet.
No, because this goes back to my whole conversation about how, like, I mean, in terms of Cruella, in terms of trying to make this villain an anti-hero, and all right, they could go down the anti-hero route with Zemo, but it's the fact that he was so good in Civil War. Don't take that away from him. He is doing a good job. Like, they are playing him well. I think it is different from how he was portrayed in Civil War, but at the end of the day, the spotlight's now on him. But there needs to be that moment where he turns on them and shows his true colours. We saw a glimpse of that when he shot the scientist. So clearly there's another game being played here. He is manipulating Sam and Bucky, and he's using them to get what he wants, which at the end of the day, Bucky is fully aware of, but I don't think he's on the same level. It's, yeah. I'm just waiting for the moment where Zemo turns around and he's like, "Bye, suckers."
I mean,
we'll
that would mean that he's...
Zemo is not going to be the primary villain of this series. That is going to be John Walker. That's how I'm seeing it. Otherwise, it's going to be a case of there are too many villains. And I don't really want a situation where, like we did with WandaVision, where you've got White Vision, Agatha, and Hayward kind of all playing villains in different setups, because it becomes the too many villains spoil the broth situation. So I think they need to. Zemo, I think in the next few episodes, he's going to sort of slip out of the episodes before the final. John Walker at that point is going to become the primary villain, and Carly, I imagine, is going to end up dead. I don't think she's going to be able to survive this.
No, that's certainly true. Those
are my predictions so far. I don't know. I don't see ways of them redeeming Carly after blowing up those people. I don't see it. You can try, Marvel.
I'm curious.
You can try. But then again, Disney did try to redeem Kylo Ren after killing Han Solo, so spoiler alert.
Let's just move away from Star Wars.
Oh, there is. Sorry, can we just appreciate the John Wick moment where they're all walking after that whole meeting blows up? They're just walking through the streets and everyone's getting like a notification saying there's a bounty on these people. That was very John Wick. And even the whole sort of seedy gangster alleyways and all
the
that
neon
sort of
and stuff, it felt very John Wick, definitely.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I did enjoy. I thought that was really cool.
I mean, I have to admit, I watched it and was like, this is supposed to be, like, Asia? And there was, like, one Asian dude. Did you notice this? There was literally one Asian dude in the whole thing.
I'm not going to lie. I thought it was like Beijing or something like that.
But it was still like, no, it felt like America. It felt much more like an American space than it did like in an Asian Southeast Asian space.
A little tiny bit of trivia, which I don't think is going to play into anything that the next episodes are going to sort of play into. So the city, which I think was like called Madripoor or something like that.
Yeah.
I've probably butchered the name.
Madripoor.
That's a key place of interest in the X-Men comics.
Ooh.
So we're starting to see more and more of X-Men lore, let's say, being played into the MCU, which
I'm okay with.
At the end of the day, we know the X-Men are coming. We know that they're coming in some capacity in the far-off future. So I like that they're trying to feed things in. I think we're past the point of theorizing that Mephisto is in every corner. But yeah, I like little trinkets like that. It was quite good fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and the final thing. Sorry, I can't believe I missed this part. Is the fact that when they got into the car, Sam just says, "You're not going to move your seat up, are you?" And Bucky's like, No.
Oh, but it wasn't as funny as it should have been.
No, I like that. I'm sorry, I like that. I'm a sucker for little things like. I mean, it was such an obvious Easter egg, but I was like, yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Oh, I liked it. I didn't feel the execution was as good as it could have been. I expected more sarcasm in that moment than was necessarily put forward. That's how I'll say it. I just wanted a bit. Just wanted a bit more. Just something, guys. Just a bit of character. Just a bit of something. Just I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking for anymore.
What we'll have to do at some point is once all the episodes are out, the fact that we then have the entire series to look at and whether or not that's changed our mind, because we'll be looking back at what we were saying in episode 1 and episode 2 and then be like, we were either very right or very wrong.
So yeah, then the only other thing is to say that we're probably going to be discussing, we will be discussing Godzilla vs. Kong next time, which I didn't realise their film together is the first time since 1962 that they've appeared on the same film.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. But I thought that was a nice bit of trivia.
I've seen clips of the last time that they were on screen together, and it has not aged well.
I have to find that. So this week.
It has beaten Justice League.
Yes! Yeah, I saw that. That's insane.
Never did I think we would be in a world where Godzilla vs. Kong beat the Justice League.
But I think some people didn't want to spend 4 hours on it, to be fair.
They were wrong.
I know.
They were wrong.
If you are in the UK, you can find Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like all good Marvel children, on Disney+.
Thank you for listening to A Bit of Film podcast with Hatty and James. If you enjoyed, please feel free to share it with your friends, families, and mortal enemies. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode wherever you get your podcast. You can contact us through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or you can always email us at abitoffilm@gmail.com with new theories, opinions, and comments. We'd love to read them.